At the start of the episode, Dr. Siak confesses to all the murders. He is brought to the station, where Mark asks him why he confessed. Dr. Siak says that he felt scared once Mark learned the truth. Mark has had enough, and he knocks Dr. Siak right out of his chair. He's ready to pound Dr. Siak into a pulp, but Mina stops him. They proceed with a calm interrogation, where Dr. Siak confesses that he killed Mina's father because the melody of the jewelry box was getting on his nerves. He claims that he killed all those women for the same reason that he killed Mina's father. They got on his nerves. Dr. Siak sneers that his confession means nothing without the bodies of his victims. In addition, he has an illness that causes dementia. Thus, only if the detectives find the bodies, they can prove he's the culprit. They can only hold him for 48 hours, and if they don't find evidence in that time, they'll have to let him go. While the detectives strip Dr. Siak's office to look for evidence of the murders, someone enters the interrogation room. Meanwhile, Mina finds a book in a drawer. Inside it is a photo of Dr. Siak as a child, but the adult whose hand he's holding has been torn out of the picture. He's standing by a sign for Innam Market, which isn't in Mukyon. The detectives are running out of time, but they still haven't found anything to connect Dr. Siak to the murders. With only 12 hours left to prove Dr. Siak's guilt, Mark tells Mina that the only evidence that can prove Dr. Siak's guilt is alternate Mark's body. They then go to the morgue for the body, only to find that it's been switched with another corpse that's scheduled to be cremated today. They arrive at the crematorium too late, and Mina guesses that Dr. Siak had something to do with the mix-up. Unfortunately, their time runs out to arrest him, and as the doctor is being uncuffed in his cell, he tells Mark that there are now 8 victims, because he killed again 3 days ago. He mocks the detective to find the body before it disappears forever. The following morning, Mina goes to check out the neighborhood where Dr. Siak lived as a kid. On the phone, she tells Mark that since Dr. Siak still has one piece of jewelry, he's got a target in mind already. Meanwhile, Junyoung discovers the 8th victim's identity, another patient of Dr. Siak's named Hwang Hee-kan, who went missing 4 days ago. Mark, Lee Hyuk, and Junyoung go to the location where his phone last sent a signal, and they find bloodstains on a wall. Mark confirms that it hasn't rained in the last 4 days, which means her body is still in this world. Mina locates the home where Dr. Siak lived as a child, which is deserted now. An elderly neighbor remembers Dr. Siak and his family, including the fact that the house was rumored to be haunted because of his grandmother's bizarre behavior. The neighbor says that Dr. Siak lived there with his mother and grandmother. Oddly, though she doesn't recall the boy's name, she does remember that he didn't have an unusual name like Siak. Using traffic cams to locate Dr. Siak's car on the night of the murder, Mark sends Lee Hyuk and Junyoung to check out the empty warehouses in the area. He realizes, to his horror, that it's begun to rain, and that there are less than 2 hours before train 8210 will travel to the other world. This means that they don't have much time, as the body can be transported to another world. Elsewhere, in the warehouse that Dr. Siak has set up to kill his victims, a hooded figure arrives and finds a suitcase. He takes the suitcase and heads to the station, and boards train 8210. Mark makes it to the train in time and begins looking for the suitcase as the train leaves the station. While this was happening, Mina had gotten an idea and called victim Kyan Hee's daughter to ask some questions about her mother. Whatever she learned leads her to believe she knows Dr. Siak's next victim, but when she returns to the police station, everyone is gone. Meanwhile, Lee Hyuk and Junyoung find the warehouse and split up to look around. Lee Hyuk locates Dr. Siak's kill room, including the still bloody hammers he uses to smash his victims' skulls, but he's too late to stop the fire that breaks out all around him. At the same time, the train shifts over to the original world, and Mark searches all over the train. Moments later, Mark finds the suitcase between the compartments. He reaches for it but stops when he hears a gun being cocked. Mark is both shocked and devastated to see that it's none other than Director Oh. She edges closer to Mark, and just as the clock ticks to 9:35 p.m., she shoots him in the chest. There is a brief flashback that shows that she's the one who killed Lee Jin-sung, the drug trafficker at his house. Alternate Director Oh was also the one who had killed the original world's Mina. Back in the present, Mina hurries to the hospital to see Lee Hyuk, whose leg was badly burned in the fire at Dr. Siak's hideout. At his home, Dr. Siak thinks about when he was being held at the police station. It had been Director Oh who had visited him, and he'd told her that he was doing this because it was her fault he was going crazy. Meanwhile, Mark is finally back in his original world. Following the gunshot, he ends up at the hospital where Young Min finds him, and luckily his bullet wound isn't severe. Mark rushes to the police station to find Director Oh, but there's someone new in her office. Lee Hyuk and Jinwoo from this world tell him that the director quit for medical reasons. He then goes to Director Oh's house. Mark goes inside to look around, and he finds the full photo of young Dr. Siak holding Director Oh's hand. He finally realizes that she's been lying to him for 12 years. It's raining again, so Mark returns to Mukyang Station. There's no train at 9:35 p.m. this time, and Mark stands on the track, wondering what's gone wrong. Earlier in the day in the alternate world, Mina and Junyoung have no luck finding Mark. Mina remembers what Mark told her about how he switched worlds, and she recalls that it was raining last night. The forecast predicts rain again tonight, so she heads to the train station. When the train stops at Mukyang Station, Mina isn't in the other world like she expects, but still in her own world. She asks about train 8210 and is told that it's being scrapped tomorrow. She meets with Young Min and tells her that Mark is somehow back in his world, and that if train 8210 is scrapped, he won't be able to return. In the original world, Young Min gives Mark some family registry records he asked for, which confirms that Seok Min Jun is the son of Director Oh. She's also learned that Director Oh has gone back to the house they briefly lived in when Dr. Seok was a child. In the next scene, we are taken to the said house, but Director Oh is not alone. Her son Seok Min Jun is there with her, and it's obvious that he's been in a coma for quite some time. Director Oh has removed his oxygen mask, and she's cut the gas line in the kitchen. She lies across Min Jun's chest, humming softly, prepared for them to die together. When Mark arrives at the house, he luckily finds the doors open. He finds Director Oh and Min Jun upstairs, and thankfully he's in time to save both their lives. When she's conscious, Director Oh kneels in front of Mark. He realizes that 12 years ago, Director Oh wanted to protect her son, the real murderer. He demands some answers, so Director Oh explains that she got pregnant by a married man and decided to keep her son. She says that she didn't know until after her son was born that her mother had Huntington's disease, which she now suffers from, and which she passed on to her son. She wasn't strong enough to wait for the inevitable signs that the disease was taking hold of Seok, so she sent him to live with his father. She hadn't seen him again for years, but when Mina's father was killed, she'd found the medication bottle that Seok dropped. She'd contacted Seok, who'd admitted that he was the killer, and Director Oh had correctly guessed that he left the bottle on purpose so that she would find him. Since Mark's father had taken the necklace out of fear because his fingerprints were on it, Mark had assumed his father was the killer. But Mark now understands that she just didn't want her son's fingerprints to be found on the necklace. She wails that by the time she'd realized what she'd done, it was too late. In a flashback, we see that a week after the murder, Sungwook and Seok had been in the car, and Sungwook had said he was going to the police to turn himself and Seok in. They had a discussion over it, prompting Sungwook to lose speed and crash into a telephone pole. The accident had left Sungwook with a traumatic brain injury and Seok in a coma. This happened in the original world and somehow didn't happen in the alternate one, so Seok went on to become a psychiatrist and the real killer, and Sungwook his accomplice in the alternate world. As he leaves the house, Mark runs into Yi Hyuk and Jinwoo on their way in. He tells them that the killer from 12 years ago is in the house. He then heads to the train station. It's raining again when Mark gets back to Mukyang Station, but again the train doesn't come. In the alternate world, Mina goes to Dr. Seok's office and shows him her gun so that he doesn't try anything. She says that she knows his final target isn't her, but his mother, who abandoned him and left him alone with his fear of his illness. Mina takes off after assigning Junyoung to keep a watch on the doctor. After Mina leaves, Dr. Seok sends Director Oh the audio recording he made of his last murder. He tells her that Mina is about to find out who she is, and orders her to meet him at the house if she wants to stop him. Elsewhere, a car is pulled out of a river with human bones inside. The forensics investigator finds a spent bullet, making it a murder case, and in the car, they find a uniform badge. The investigator talks to Young Min on the phone and tells her that he thinks the victim is a superintendent of the police force. Meanwhile, a man comes to the station looking for Mark, and because he's not there, he gives Mina the list of patients with Huntington's disease in South Korea that Mark asked for. Mina scans the patient list and stops in surprise when she sees Director Oh's name. When she'd been at the house, the neighbor had told her that Dr. Seok's family name wasn't Seok at the time, but Oh. She looks up Director Oh's file, and she has the same birthday as Oh My-suk on the patient list. She immediately drives to Dr. Seok's old house in Annam. As Director Oh goes to her old rented home to meet with Dr. Seok, Mark hurries to Mukyang Station in the original world, desperate to catch the train back to the alternate world. He arrives right at 9:35 p.m., just as train 8210 pulls into the station. Meanwhile, Junyoung sits alone in a room somewhere, tied up as Dr. Seok had knocked him unconscious. Director Oh enters the house and sees her son. Dr. Seok grows distraught as he asks why she never arrested him. He sobs that if she was truly his mother, she would have stopped him. They're interrupted by the sounds of Junyoung escaping, and Dr. Seok follows him out and hits him with a metal pipe. Junyoung sees Director O and calls out to her, but Dr. Seok keeps hitting Junyoung while asking if she's going to just stand there and watch. She finally screams at him to stop, then takes the pipe from him and viciously slams Junyoung in the head. Dr. Seok gives her a sick smile, grabs her by the throat, and starts to choke her. A shot rings out and Dr. Seok falls to the ground. It's Mina. She runs to Director O, then checks on Junyoung. While her back is turned, Director O picks up her gun and takes aim at Mina. Dr. Seok asks Director O if she's really going this far to protect him, and we see several flashes of him in other worlds, always dying of suicide in a jail cell. At this point, we realize that there are other worlds as well. As she's about to shoot Mina, her phone rings with a call from Mark. While Director O is distracted by surprise, Mina escapes. Director O then goes after Mina. As Dr. Seok gets to his feet, there is someone pointing a gun at him. Mina tries to ambush Director O, but the director pushes her off and takes aim, vowing to protect her son as long as she's alive. But when Director O looks up, Mark is standing there, holding his gun at Dr. Seok's head. Suddenly they're surrounded by cops, who disarm Director O and cuff her and Dr. Seok. Director O confesses to all the murders on the spot and claims that Dr. Seok is innocent. He looks at her and says that he finally understands who his last target should have been. We see flashes of the other Dr. Seoks from other worlds, all in jail, saying these exact words to her just before killing themselves. Dr. Seok suddenly grabs a gun from one of the cops. Director O realizes what he's about to do and screams as her son puts the gun to his own head and pulls the trigger. The following day, Mark notices the uniform badge that Young Min is carrying, and she explains that it's from a skeleton that was found in a car in the river. Mark then learns that it was Young Min who caused Train 8210 to run one last time, allowing him to return. Mark is walking through the Mukyeon police station lobby when he spots a photograph of Director O on the wall. It's from a promotion she received in 2012, and Mark notices something strange. In the photo, Director O has a large scar on her left hand, yet when Director O was cuffed the other night, she had no scar. Mark immediately calls Young Min and tells her to compare the DNA of the skeleton found in the river to the Director O they just arrested. Later that night, Mina arrives home after work, but she senses something off as soon as she walks into her apartment. She's attacked by someone who growls that she shouldn't have taken the ledger before stabbing her in the stomach. Thankfully, Mina isn't dead, and Mark arrives at her apartment to get her to the hospital in time. As soon as she's safe, he heads to the prison to talk to Director O. Mark demands to know who she is, saying that he knows she killed this world's Director O. Mark realizes that she is a traveler just like him, who came from another world. Shaking with rage, Mark says that she and her son caused all of this misery, but Director O says that it's his presence here that's disrupting the world. He's the one causing people to meet who they shouldn't have met, uncovering truths that should have remained hidden, and creating paths where they shouldn't exist. She claims that she tried to stop it, and we see that in her original world. She'd arrested her son the day that she'd confronted him with the pill bottle he'd left in Mina's house. That decision had led to his suicide in jail, so she'd crossed boundaries in different worlds, only to lose him the same way each time. She tells Mark that he'll suffer the same fate, losing the person he loves over and over again. She adds that Han Mina will die as long as Mark stays in this world. Desperate to leave the world and save Mina, Mark goes to the railroad car repair building, only to find that Train 8210 has already been scrapped. Meanwhile, Mina wakes up alone in the hospital and tries to call Mark, but his phone is off. He's at the station, where he runs into Junyoung and learns that they arrested Mina's attacker. The attacker is one of the VIPs on Lee Jin-sung's ledger that Mark turned in as evidence. This just confirms Mark's fears that Mina nearly died because of his presence in this world. Mark goes to the track where Train 8210 used to run, thinking about his ill fate. He thinks his presence will only end up killing Mina. Mark has his gun pointed at his head, ready to leave this world and keep Mina safe. Mina tries to call him, and the ringing phone makes him pause just long enough that he hears the train's warning bells. To his shock, Train 8210 speeds towards him. In the next scene, Mina visits Director O in prison. She's aged and her Huntington's has advanced, causing her to rely on a wheelchair and her hand to tremble non-stop. She lists several dates, November the 5th of August, the 12th of April 9th, and May 11th, and says that those are the days that her son died. Mina says that means there are other worlds, and asks how Director O traveled between them. Director O only repeats the dates, deep in the grip of her dementia. Next, we see a bustling city where two cops chase someone on foot, but he turns a corner and gets away. The cops turn out to be none other than Jinwoo and Junyoung as they meet up with Hee Hyuk. They complain that the guy they were chasing was too fast, and in a minute, they're joined by a spectacled section chief CO Mark. Hee Hyuk asks Mark if he knows the guy they were trying to catch because he looked eerily like him. Across the street, The original Mark keeps an eye on their location, then continues on his way when it's clear. Turns out he has traveled into another world. As he's crossing a busy street, he suddenly stops short at the sight of Mina, who looks like she's been waiting for him. He tries to pass her thinking she wouldn't recognize him, but she grabs his wrist and stops him. She says that everything is messed up right now, but her name is Mina, and that they start over from there. Fighting back tears, Mark stares at her for a long time and then he smiles. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you.